afternoon. The 39 Americans held hostage for 17 days by terrorists in Lebanon are free, safe, and at this moment on their way to Frankfurt, Germany. They'll be home again soon. This is a moment of joy for them, for their loved ones, and for our nation. And America opens its heart in a prayer of thanks to Almighty God.
These are dogs. They're worse than dogs. You know, a dog, some dogs are nice, you know, but these are just rotten. You know, President Reagan called them thugs. And that's not even a proper term. They're scum. Evil people.
We had a job in Niamakhra, Greece, and it was not so glamorous. We were repairing a sewer outfall line that went into the ocean.
So we found that in most Navy bases that we went to, that the people would work well with us because we're coming there to solve a problem. We're going to solve it fast, we're going to solve it cheaply, and we're going to get the heck out of here.
You know, we worked hard and we played equally hard.
The day that we left, Bob and I had gone up on the top floor and took pictures of each of us as the sun was coming up. We got very early. We got real early, just something for us and something to show our family, you know, just yeah.
Bob and I, we took the gear and we took it to the airport, and then Stuart and Kenny and Jeff and Tony, they turned the cars back in. Okay, so we're watching the gear, you know, and that's when I noticed these two son of a bitch. You watch my voice. That's when I noticed them, the hijackers.
We were scattered throughout the plane. You couldn't pick your seat. You know, some people was in the front, and some was in the back, and some was in the middle. You couldn't sit together, but Bob and Clint was actually 2 rows behind me, and they were side by side.
We had just taken off, the plane had just got up. I don't even know that we were at full altitude yet. I mean, we had started leveling off when, you know, these people started running, these guys went running down the aisle, and I heard them running, and I looked up just long enough to see that he had a gun in his hand.
And I'd bent down to grab a paperback out of my briefcase, and that's when they went running forward, and one of them had kicked me. He kicked me in the head, and I immediately sat up, you know, like, what's going on? And that's when I saw, you know, they were yelling, and you could see that one of them had a gun, the other one had hand grenades. So then it was like, okay, here we go.
He has pulled a hand grenade pin, and he is ready to blow up the aircraft if he has to. We must, I repeat, we must land at Beirut. We must land at Beirut. No alternatives.
It's surreal. You don't think this is happening. This is not happening. This happens on the movies. You know, happens to somebody else.
There was a lot of commotion, and the stewardess came on and made an announcement that the plane had been taken.
One of the first things that they did was collect passports and or IDs, and I was able to hide my ID down in the seat, so I made it look like I had dropped something in the bag. So they had no identification for me.
When they got to Bob Steedham and Clint Suggs, who were 2 aisles behind me, I know they gave them their ID cards, and he hollered at them immediately. He says, "You Marines! You Marines!" And I heard Bob say, "No, we're Navy."
Oh. And then they took me up there in first class, tied me up, and then my arms was behind my back like this. And then I looked over, and then Bob was tied up. And you know, and I'm looking at him, and he's looking at me, because we're both up there now, because, you know, we've been designated as Marines, and we're like Navy. And, excuse me. And they tie us up. And then they break off, you know, this part of the seat on the plane, and they start beating us with it.
But Bob was in the back this time. They took him from the first class to the back and sat him down between a couple of older ladies, and he was just bloodied. His face was swollen, and it was black and blue. He was bound with rags.
He was walking, but he was blood. It was all over. His face was bleeding. His shirt was torn. He was holding his side, and you could just tell that every step he was taking was just agony. And he came past me, and I tried to look up and make eye contact with him, but I don't know that he ever did. I don't know that he saw me there. You know, I wanted to try to give him some kind of encouragement to hang in there.
And they kept hitting him, and he kept yelling. And I said, you know what? I'm not gonna yell. I'm not gonna yell. I got something from my mother, you know, she said, bite your lip. Don't, whatever, bite your lip. And so I bit the shit out of him. I don't even know if I had a lip. Get out of there. And, excuse me. It's kind of hard right now. And then we kept flying, and they kept beating us. You know, every time they walked down the aisle, there was two of them, and they'd hit us. And we were the only ones in first class. They moved all the people out of first class, and then Bob and I was the only two up there. And I'm looking over there, I'm saying, hang in there, Bob, hang in there. And I'm saying, hoping Bob's saying, Clint, hang in there, Clint, hang in there. And they took Bob. We landed in Algiers. And they took him up to forward of the cockpit. And they kept stomping him and beating him. And he was, you know, he was doing the best he can. You know what I'm saying? Being the man there he was, and then okay. And then I was just hanging in there, Bob. And then they said, then I heard the door open of the plane, and then I heard pap, pap, and I heard him say, oh God, and that's the last. And then they threw him off on the tarmac. Oh shit. And then, they said one more in 5 minutes. And then they started beating. I'm biting the shit out of my lip. Because I said, I'm not gonna scream. You motherfuckers ain't taking my dignity. You ain't taking this from me. And I can't fight you, but you know what? If my hands was loose, I'd kick the shit out of you. because I'm a wrestler, I'm a pole vaulter, I'm a hot damn a deep sea Navy diver. But you know, I can't do nothing when you're tired. And then Uli, she stepped in and she said, "This man cannot hurt you." And they stopped.
And there was about 10 men in uniforms, in camouflage uniforms, AK-47s and bandoliers of ammunition and hand grenades all over them. And they were coming on the plane, and I thought, we're being rescued. And the shorter hijacker ran up to the first one, and they embraced and kissed each other on the cheek, and I thought, this ain't good.
They put me next to Tony Watson. And they said, "Clint, are you okay?" I said, "Tony, they just shot Bob."
And had us lined up out there on the tarmac with guys with automatic weapons across from us, like, you know, they're going to shoot us all. And so we're just sitting there, and you're trying to put on a brave face for the guys, and they're trying to do the same thing for you, and your teammates, you're trying to, you know, we're in this together, you know, whatever it takes. We're kind of looking at each other, looking at them. This is it. All of us are thinking the same thing. Why would they line us out here?
Yeah, I mean, you reach a point where you're mentally, it's hard to explain unless you've been there. I mean, when you're just like, all right, at least it'll be done. I'm done, you know, I'm done. I'm ready for it to be done.
Then at the last minute, they said, in the back of the truck.
We were in the gut of Beirut, where it was like the worst part of town you'd ever want to be in.
So this became our home for the next 17 days.
There and do this. The kid doesn't understand what's going on. Little 4-year-old, 5-year-old, they don't know that. This is what kind of dogs and crap people they are. Who does this to your children? You protect children. You know, martyr. This particular martyr killed himself. He was playing with a gun and shot himself by accident. He wasn't even doing a mission.
And the nighttime guard, one of them came in, and it was just like the whole room just went quiet when he came in. And he had a magazine, and I think I was sitting closest to the door, and he came in there, and he flipped it in there to us, and he was like, he's like, your friend died, you will die soon. And he's laughing. He just, this hysterical laugh. And it was a copy of Time magazine. And right there, there's a photo of Bob laying on a coroner's table. They couldn't have beat us any harder to do that.
This the thing that hurt me the most. They brought Bob's clothes in, his sea bag, and we're looking at his boots, his clothes, and the kids was wearing them.
As this came to a head, the International Red Cross had set up a thing, you know, to release us all. And this is after like day number 17. The following morning, they came and got us, loaded us up into vehicles, and we all thought, you know, we don't know what's going on. We all thought, okay, this is it, fellas. these guys are going to kill us now. They're going to take us out of here and kill us because they don't like us. They think we're Marines. They think we lied to them. They know that Bob Steedham was one of us. They know that we know guns because Kenny took his thing apart. They brought that up. They know we lied about, you know, all this other stuff. But there was someone in there who was an interpreter with the American Red Cross, and he said, no. He says, you guys are going home. You're going to the American University, going to the school.
And then when I saw reporters and they were asking, started saying our names, you know, I guess that was, that's kind of when it, you know, we knew we were coming out of it, so, but,
When I saw my wife in Germany, that's really the first time that I felt, and I actually broke down crying in her arms. Isn't that something?
Stuart Dahl, Tony Watson, Jeffrey Ingalls, Kenneth Boyd, Clinton Suggs, Robert Stenham, all first and second class petty officers, got on a plane for home that was hijacked by the extremist network Hezbollah. What they endured on board that plane for the next 24 hours and in captivity for the 17 days that followed is a suffering that only those few who have shared similar experiences can ever fully comprehend. These 6 then young Seabees, never exposed to this particular type of enemy action, conducted themselves with dignity and courage in the face of immense brutality.
There's no prouder day than today when we get to make our friend, our shipmate, Honorary Chief Petty Officer Clinton Suggs.
I'm so thankful.